I'm an eye doctor, and I tested 5 viral eye hacks that people swear by. I ranked them as either they work, they kind of work, or no, they don't work at all. The first one we did was the spoon hack. You may have seen this one. You have cold spoons. Either they're dipped in ice water, or maybe they're kept in the freezer, and then they're put below the eyes or over the eyes. The purpose of this one is to reduce the swelling around the eyes, and they'll say that it eliminates the bags and the dark circles below the eyes. Eliminates is kind of generous wording. I would say that it reduces the appearance of the dark circles, and it reduces the puffiness around the eyes. It kind of works. The cold will constrict the little blood vessels, so you'll have less swelling around the eyes. If you're doing it properly, there's 2 things that you're doing. You're putting the cold there. You're also kind of massaging from the middle out towards the edges, and that's going to get all the fluid to move so you don't have as much puffiness around the eyes. I'm not sure why they chose spoons. I think just because it's convenient, everyone has spoons sitting around, but I found that it heats up pretty quickly, and so it would make more sense to have multiple spoons, but it's not that convenient to have like 12 spoons in your freezer all the time. But hey, if you want to look awake right away first thing in the morning and you're just in a hurry, it kind of works. You can give it a shot. The next one is the classic cucumber over the eyes. This one's really in the same category as the spoons. The cold of the cucumber over and around the eyes constricts those little blood vessels. You'll have reduction in the puffiness around the eyes. If your eyes are itchy, it'll make them less itchy, so you can try it if you have that. I'm going to say this one kind of works as well, but I'm being, again, pretty generous with this one. People who argue for this will say, well, the cucumber has a lot of different antioxidants in it, it has caffeine in it, so there's some beneficial components to it, and while that's true, those really don't get into the skin. For better and for worse, the skin does not absorb everything that touches it. In fact, it's really good at keeping everything out. So 95% of the cucumber is water anyway, and that cold water is what's making the difference. The beneficial products don't meaningfully absorb into the skin, and so it doesn't really matter. So you can have a cold compress of any kind and you'll have the same effect as the cucumber. But if you have a cucumber, I can't really think of a better thing to do with the cucumber. Let me know in the comments if you can think of anything better to do with the cucumber. I think cutting it up and putting pieces on your eyes before you throw it away is probably a little bit better than just throwing it away. The next one is castor oil around the eyes. And I'm going to go a little bit against the grain on this one. I'm going to go ahead and say that this is a yes, but there's a caveat to that. This does work depending on why you're using it. If you're using it because you have redness and irritation around your eyes, blepharitis, then it does seem like it works. However, if you're using it for floaters or getting it directly in your eyes, then I'm going to say it's a no. It's got some antibacterial components to it. It helps to improve that barrier, and for blepharitis, with some studies, it shows that it does help. But if you have pure castor oil and you're getting it in your eyes, it is shown to be toxic to some cells on the front of your eye. People will use castor oil for floaters and for cataracts, and they'll swear by it. But I just haven't seen any evidence showing that it does anything, and I do have evidence that shows that if you get it in your eye, it causes some problems. So I have to go by what the science says. I'm open-minded to it. There are artificial tears. There's lots of eye drops that will have small amounts. It's not pure castor oil. So I'm certainly open. Castor oil has some great components to it, but putting it in your eyes when it's not meant to go in the eyes is not a great idea, so it's a no for that. The next one is warm washcloths over the eyes. And I'm gonna go against the grain on this one too and say that this one is also a no. The reason for that is warm washcloths do not stay warm long enough to make any real difference. If you put a warm washcloth on your eyes and you're laying there, it's going to cool off within about 30 seconds to a point where it's not making a meaningful difference anymore. So if you have a mug of hot water and you have 2 washcloths in it and you swap it out for a different one, then that could work out. That's a little more inconvenient, but if you're going to do it, that's the only way to do it. The goal of the warm washcloth in the first place is to liquefy the oil that's in the little oil glands around the eyes, but you're going to need to have it on there for about 10 minutes of retained heat. So a washcloth doesn't get even close to that. Now, blue blocking glasses, like computer glasses, I'm going to hesitantly rank this as a no. And the reason for that is because a lot of people do it because they're afraid that if they don't wear their computer glasses, their eyes are going to be damaged. And there just isn't evidence to say that's the case. There is some evidence that goes way back where retinal cells, animal retinal cells in a petri dish, had blue light shined at them and those cells were damaged. But since that time, and that's been a long time, there's been no evidence showing that human cells, that the light goes through the cornea and goes through the intraocular lens and reaches the retina with enough energy to cause any damage. Now, for comfort, there do seem to be some benefits. So wearing blue blocking glasses It does seem like people will consistently rank that their comfort is better. I have a lot of migraine patients that love those glasses that really help them. And I have multiple pairs of them and I wear them all the time because it helps me with some eye strain. But do those need to be blue blocking? Could they be plum or pink? Maybe. We don't really know. It might just be that we're reducing the amount of light getting to the back of the eye. So even though I'm ranking this as a no, it doesn't mean it's useless or pointless. It's just that it might not be exactly what the marketing makes you believe about them. If there are any other things that you've heard people doing for their eyes and you've been suspicious of them or you're interested if they're real or not, then comment below so I can learn about those and we can do more videos like this.